The textile industry is smaller than people think, and the old guard at Carrington Fabrics was the smallest circle of all. I had been their senior production analyst for 9 years. I was the one who optimized the loom schedules, reduced waste by 22%, and navigated the supply chain nightmare of the mid-2020s without missing a single delivery deadline. My office was on the factory floor, not because I had to be there, but because I cared about the fiber. When the director of operations position opened up, everyone, from the floor supervisors to the regional VPs, knew it was mine. I had the numbers, the loyalty, and the respect of the 500 people who actually made the product. Then came the interview with the new CEO, a man named Sterling who believed that company culture was synonymous with looking like a country club member. I walked into his mahogany row office wearing my usual, high-quality work trousers, a clean polo shirt, and steel-toed boots. I had just come from fixing a tension issue on line 4 that would have cost us $40,000 in ruined silk if I'd waited. Sterling didn't look at my portfolio. He looked at my feet. Is this how you intend to represent this firm to our stakeholders, David? I represent the firm by ensuring our stakeholders actually have a product to sell, sir, I replied. He leaned back, adjusted his silk tie, and sighed. We've decided to go with an external candidate. Someone who understands the prestige of the executive suite. You're a brilliant technician, but you lack the professional polish we require for leadership. Perhaps if you spent less time in the grease and more time in a tailor shop, we'd be having a different conversation. The external candidate was a guy named Bryce. Bryce had never seen a loom in his life. He wore 3-piece suits in July and insisted that the floor managers attend synergy breakfasts at 6 a.m. I stayed for exactly 3 weeks. I watched Bryce try to streamline the wool blending process by cutting out the hydration stage, a move that anyone with a week of experience knows leads to brittle fibers and massive breakage. I pointed it out once. Bryce told me to respect the chain of command and reminded me that my boots were scuffing the new marble in the lobby. I resigned that afternoon. No drama. No shouting. I just handed in my badge and walked out in my unpolished boots. Carrington Fabrics thought I was going to retire or find another mid-level role. What they didn't realize was that during my 9 years, I had developed a proprietary chemical treatment for recycled polyester that made it feel like 800 thread count cotton. I own the patent personally. Carrington had passed on buying it 2 years prior because Sterling's predecessor thought recycled sounded cheap. 4 days after I left, I got a call from Vertex Textiles, Carrington's biggest rival. They didn't care about my boots. They cared about the fact that I held the key to the future of sustainable luxury. I signed on as their lead strategic consultant. My first task? Implementing my patented process into their new Eco Silk line. Meanwhile, back at Carrington, things were falling apart. Bryce's streamlined wool process had resulted in a 30% failure rate. Their biggest client, a high-end Italian fashion house, sent back an entire shipment of brittle fabric and threatened a breach of contract lawsuit. Sterling was desperate. He needed someone who knew the machines, someone who could fix the grease issues. He called me on a Tuesday. David, it's Sterling. Look, there's been a bit of a technical hiccup on the floor. Bryce is a visionary, but he's a bit disconnected from the mechanical side. We'd like to offer you a special technical director role. It comes with a substantial raise. I'm afraid I'm busy, Sterling, I said, looking out at the Vertex factory floor where I was currently standing, in my boots. Doing what? Consulting for some small shop? Actually, I'm the lead consultant for Vertex. We just signed your old Italian client this morning. It turns out they value the quality of the fiber more than the polish of the man who makes it. Sterling went quiet. David, surely we can talk about this. We're an institution. You were an institution, I corrected him. Now you're a museum. And museums eventually run out of visitors. Within 6 months, Vertex had captured 40% of Carrington's market share. Carrington had to shutter 2 of their 5 plants, and Bryce was quietly let go, though I hear he looked very sharp at his unemployment hearing. I still work on the floor. I still wear my steel-toed boots. But now, when I walk into the boardroom at Vertex, they don't look at my feet. They look at the profit margins.